Hi, I'm La, and welcome to the Rooted Life with La Vang. And today, I actually thought I'd get a little bit real with all of you, or at least just be a bit more raw and honest in terms of how I actually started working with some of my feather babies here. Obviously, as you know from my channel, I focus quite a bit on midlife because, well, I am in midlife. I'm on the verge of 50, and I started this YouTube channel because I've always wanted to do it, and two, I decided why not? I'm turning half a century, and it's time to stop being such a chicken, you know what, and just do it and see where it goes. I just wanted to take you all on this journey with me and just share a little bit about my story and how I got started and how and why chickens became such a central theme, not only to my life, but why they make quite a bit of cameo here on my YouTube channel. So come along for this journey with me. So just kind of taking you all back on perhaps maybe a little bit of an emotional journey of my part. Um, yes, I was newlywed, and I was extremely happy. I met the love of my life and someone who was willing to, or at least someone who bribed my heart enough that I hung up my bachelorette hat. And so I packed up, sold the house, packed up my bags, and moved from my hometown that I've known all my life and where I raised my son. I was already empty nester at that point, so it made it a lot easier. Well, at least he was, taking a gap year from college, so he was doing his own thing, and here I was, just packing up my stuff, my life, and moving and starting a whole new world and whole new life here in the Pacific Northwest. And it it should have been a happy moment, and it was in so many ways. But I did not realize that, uh, and excuse the sound ahead, we actually have a hangar or a small flying school near here, and they like to fly over our farm. Um, but you would think that getting married and starting life all over here in the Pacific Northwest, that life would have been extremely happy and that I would be extremely happy. And I was being with him and being a single mom and expanding my family from one child to, five, because my husband have four kids. And I was excited about that part. I mean, we built a very wonderful life together. We have a wonderful blended family. The kids and I, we all have great love and respect for each other. And so there's none of that problem, which is wonderful because first world problem, right? But none of that existed for us. And I was extremely excited about this new role that I have. And of course, moving to a farm, I did not realize that uprooting my entire life would have created such a huge mental toll on me. The only thing now, almost 10 years later, that I could think of is that it was just a shock of moving me away from a place that I've always known. So you have me out here in a place that I don't know other than my husband and his family. And then I couple that with starting a job, not so much the career. I actually spent 18 years as a chief fundraising officer. So I did that locally, nationally, raised millions of dollars for nonprofits, both locally where I was at and also nationally. So the career wasn't the problem, but it was also the workforce. It was such a toxic workforce. I could not believe that us being in midlife, over 40, some of us into their 50s, that people would act the way that I witnessed in that startup. I I couldn't believe it. I know that sometimes you have personalities in the workforce, and you have people actually in disagreement, but to the degree that I experienced, and some of the conflict that we all experience, and the backstabbing from the person whom I took the position over from, I just couldn't believe that. So I spent a year doing that, and then so the first year was spent working in a toxic environment. In addition to the first year being spent trying to find my way and learn my way around here. Not to mention that husband started a not this he started a new job, or he went into a new job, not different company, but just a different role, and that took him away from home. So he traveled. In fact, when we first got married, 2 weeks after I moved out here, they shipped him off, or he had to go to Ireland and stay there pretty much for 6 weeks, and so that was kind of tough. So you're talking about someone who had to navigate her life all by herself. And although I am this independent person who's self sufficient and I am very capable, I think that the reality of having to navigate a whole new environment with so many life changes, the toxicity of the workplace, just everything that we were going through that first year took such an emotional toll on me that I was functioning. I think they call it, even though you're depressed, you're still highly functioning. And I've always just been one of those people. So that kind of spiral, I went on a spiral in so many ways. I probably, in hindsight, should have maybe gone in and sought some type of mental health support, um, but I didn't, and maybe I think that would have helped me. Um, so, having said that, on to the next journey of how the chickens came into my life. So, entering the chickens. Alice, stop, you guys. I can't record this. So, entering the chicken. Why are you picking on Matthias, stooge? I Prince Charles. I come in here to check up on everyone early in the morning, and I decided to film this video, and this is what I get, right? Hi, Samantha. Here, come here. Let me bring you up here. It's my Samantha. Um, okay, you guys can't have any more snack. You have to wait, okay? I'll open the gate in a little bit to let you guys forage. Here. Samantha, say hi. Say hi, my sweetheart. She's such a sweetheart. She's a great mom. She's one of my adopted mom. So whenever she loves being a mommy, and whenever we hatch any new eggs and babies who or chicks who don't have mama, we would usually give it to her. She's been an adopted mom so many times over. Right, my Samantha? Right, my sweetheart? Hi, my guy. I love you. All right, Samantha, you go. Okay. Let me give them their treat. They're like begging the heck out of me. And I even have my duck girl, Buck Beak here. Here, you guys. Alice, Samantha. All right. All right, all right, all right. So I could never get anything done. Um, so a year into living here in the Northwest, and everything in my mental state was not in the greatest condition. I hated my last job. Um, I actually quit my entire career after 18 years. So it was a whole year of me dealing with the emotional state, my husband traveling quite a bit, me trying to deal with my emotion and learning my way around the Pacific Northwest, Metro Portland, Oregon area. I didn't even bother helping him with the farm because one, I had no clue, nor do I even wouldn't even know how to begin doing it. So I just, being a highly functioning depressive person, I just went on about my life. But I think in hindsight, I was um, spiraling into the dark abyss. I was irritable. I was angry. I should have been happy being a newlywed. Should have been the happiest day of my life. And like I said, I was not unhappy with him and my new family. but I couldn't figure it out. The workplace was horrible. It didn't help my journey either out here. So it was a whole year of pretty much just trying to be a highly functioning depressive person. Uh, my husband's job was settling down. He switched team, and so that allowed him to stay here and not travel. I hated my position. I hated the place that I worked at, and that contributed to me going into a deeper, darker state because I was comfortable and I had a very healthy work environment prior to moving out here. So that, in of itself, I had to resolve that. So after a year of being out here, I did something so radical with the loving support of my husband. I wouldn't have been able to do that, but he just basically said, "Fine, if it's that toxic, you're obviously going through quite a bit, so just just leave, just quit your job, figure yourself out." And so that's what I did. I put my 2 weeks notice in, got into a big argument, kind of say "f you" to the president, because one, I told him I'm too old for this, and so are you. And after 18 years of doing this, don't treat me like I am, fresh out of college. Not that you should treat anyone, even fresh out of college, like that either, but it was even more dehumanizing being over the age of 40, midlife, uh, with 18 years of experience and working with people who were perhaps in so many ways lacked leadership, and as I like, and perhaps maybe even issues with themselves. I just know it had nothing to do with me, but with themselves. So that happened. I quit, and that year my husband decided he finally wanted to go elk hunting, and so he asked if I could wouldn't mind taking care of the farm and tending to the flock and the livestock while he was gone for a week. I mean, what am I going to say? No, I'm going to let them starve to death. So no, I just said, fine, just show me what I need to do. And fine, I will put on my farm clothes and farm boots, and I will walk out there, even though I did not want to do it. They kind of scared me a little bit. So he pretty much set up everything, and that's what I did. For the whole week that he was gone, I actually came out every single day, every other day, just to make sure that they had clean water and food, that no one was starving to death. And the more I came out here, I thought it was just going to be a every other day type of deal, but I ended up coming out one day, and I was so scared that any of them were going to suffer under my watch that I actually came out several times during the day, because as much as I didn't know how to care for them, I also didn't want them to. I didn't want any of them to die on my watch, right? And so I started coming out several times a day just because I was nervous about missing anything. And after, like, about on the second day, third day, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't know. And I found myself just sitting out here, touching the baby chicks, hanging out with the chickens, giving them their snacks, and they started surrounding me because I never came out. They weren't familiar with who I was. And we started getting to know each other. And then on before my husband came home, I noticed an old rooster, who pretty much opened my heart completely and changed my perspective. He didn't have a name, but I just noticed this rooster. I didn't even know he was old, or I didn't realize how old he was. There was this rooster hunched over, not doing anything, not mobile, and I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of left him alone. And I came back in and out just to check up on him, and I kind of got concerned. And so when my husband came home, I told him, I'm like, everything is okay, but I noticed this rooster just kind of sitting to himself, being his own little corner. And so my husband came out, took a look, realized that he had bugs crawling on him. And for anyone who actually raises chicken, you'll know that mites is terrible on any chicken. So he's like, what we need to do is we need to clean him up, wash him, get rid of all these bugs. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm like, I have no idea how to wash a chicken. So I did some research. I joined some of these Facebook group, a lot of them backyard chicken group, and did quite a bit of research on how to clean and bathe, or at least wash a rooster. And I didn't realize that you could just wash them, whether in Dawn. Liquid dishwashing soap is very gentle. They're sounding the alarm because there's a chicken over. There's actually a bird overhead. So that's what I did. I took him in. I didn't know. I used to have dogs, so I do know how to wash dogs. But I never done it for a chicken. So I decided, you know what? I'm sure it's the same thing. I just have to be careful according to the research. Don't put too much over his head because they could drown. And so that was what I've learned. I took him home, put him in the bathtub, and gave him a warm shower. Washed him up. It was kind of awkward at first, but after several attempts, I actually got pretty darn good at it. So I washed him, dried him off, blow dried him, took him back out, and a couple of days later, he actually, they kind of did some of the recommendation from the experts. So I gave him some vitamin, made sure he was drinking electrolytes because he may have been depleted in vitamins, and that helped. And lo and behold, he actually started getting a little bit better, started walking around, hanging out with the flock, doing his thing, resting quite a bit. And my husband did tell me that he's actually a very old rooster. He was probably hitting 8 years old at that time. And I didn't know. I had no idea how long a chicken would live. Now, the last 6, 7 years of experience, all my roosters live pretty much about 3 years only. And so the fact that he lived to about almost 8 years old is a true testament to who he is. And so I was completely immersed and engaged in taking care of that one rooster who didn't have a name. So I decided to call him Duke because he looked like a Duke for some reason. And Duke and I hung out quite a bit. We hung on the farm. When I came out, he would just follow me around, and we sat, in the sun because his body temperature is not the same as before. He got cold quite easily. And I took it really hard when Duke passed away after about maybe 3 or 4 months of me really doing intensive care and monitoring of him. And he passed away, and I never thought in a million years that I would be holding a funeral for a rooster named Duke. But I buried him. He was my very first rooster that I deeply come to love. And Duke passed, and I cried, of course. I'm just a softie like that. But I didn't realize that um, Duke did more for me than I felt I ever did for him. I did not realize that the healing process has started. Uh, once I started working with Duke and taking care of him, there was a part of me that felt sad. It started diminishing. I actually found myself really wanting to get out here on the farm even more. I found myself wanting to explore the Pacific Northwest even a lot more and hiked. And that was when um, I would have to say I wasn't completely healed, but that started the journey. And it felt wonderful to feel like I belonged somewhere again, and that me uprooting my whole life uh, wasn't as tragic as I thought. Look at this. Oh, Prince, can you guys stop? So after Duke passed, flew over the Rainbow Bridge, I found myself coming out here, missing him and his presence, but feeling healed, or at least started the journey of my healing process from depression. And I came out here quite a bit after that. I would hang out more with the chickens. I got even more involved in raising, taking care of them, cleaning them, uh, making sure that everyone was okay. And after that, I just started every little new chick that was born. When I would take care of them. I started tagging a whole bunch, uh, giving them names. And before you know it, I wouldn't say unbeknownst to my husband, but to his shock, next thing he knew it, there will be maybe about a dozen chickens that I would tag with my color, a pink zip, a tiny zip tie that we would, or at least an anklet that we would, that I have for me. Next thing you know, you had up to a dozen or so that I would just tag because I said these are not for you to butcher or etc. They are my babies, and that's kind of how the process started. It just started from there. Hi, Tammy. So now, any one of them that actually has a name, forget it. My husband is not allowed to touch any of them. I think in some ways he humored me. He may give me side eye, but he knows how healing they were toward, on my journey back to to myself. But but another thing, on this healing journey of mine, I learned quite a bit. I learned quite a bit about life. I take that back. I'm a middle-aged woman. I know a couple of things or two about life, but having them along in my life gave me different perspective. And out of this deep, dark depression, birthed many things. After a year of healing and just trying to find my way and growing up or glowing up as a midlifer, I did a radical shift. I didn't go back to my career anymore. After 18 years, I left everything behind. And I decided to just launch a food cart here. Well, I launched a food cart and a food business here in the Northwest. Went all in. It's hard work, and hard work, lots of lessons, lots of tears, blood, sweat, and tears, which I will. I'm set to film a video about that in one of my new series because I know some people have asked me about it, and maybe I can impart some life lessons or lessons learned on this entrepreneur journey of mine. So that's a story for another day. But through my healing process, I launched with the help of my roosters and my chickens. I launched a business. Um, it's still hard, and kept a lot more chickens over the year. And in addition to that, I actually raise a lot of roosters. Some people say you can't have a lot of roosters, and the truth is you really can't. They fight. It's a natural order of life, a pecking thing. So I don't introduce any uh, mature roosters, but if I can raise them all together from birth or from hatchling, then they actually can get along pretty well because their pecking order has pretty much established at that point. So it makes it a whole lot easier. So that's the only reason why I actually, I have a lot of chickens, yes, my beloved pets, but I also love roosters just because there's something about them that, excuse me. So I love roosters. And the last several years, I started collecting lessons, which is what I typically do. In life. I'll just take one. I don't know if in keeping true to who I am and always imparting wisdom to my son, uh, collecting my thoughts here. So keeping true to who I am and sharing thoughts and lessons that I used to do for my son, and then now my stepson, I would always give them these lists of lessons from mom, stuff that they will never understand at that age, at a young age, but I hope that one day that they will. Keeping true to just me doing that, I just actually started writing about each one of chickens that shaped my life, who I am, helped me heal, lessons about each one of them, um, and journal prompts to help me think through perhaps some of my issues or problems or things I wanted to get off my chest. And I started writing that, and it was pretty much so also inspired. Although I love Duke, there's another rooster named Kofifi. I should talk about him. He's the central to all things. He was the rooster that he was my buddy. Lived with me, was with me for 6 years before he flew over the Rainbow Bridge. And it was because of him that I really went full fledged in writing and created the book called A Girl and Her Rooster, or A Girl and Her Rooster, as a tribute to him. but also all the roosters and the hens who changed my life and lessons that I learned from each one. And I will share more about that because it's the premise for pretty much everything that I do here, at least on my channel. Not everything, but quite a bit of it, since I have a lot of chicken metaphors. But a girl and her rooster was born, and launching that and wanting to share that through not only this YouTube channel, but also how can I impart some of those wisdoms on a much larger scale through books, through writings. And, in so many ways, that's kind of how the Rooted Life with Lao was born, too, right? It's through my chickens. So, um, it's been an interesting journey, I would have to say. Yep. Do you have something to say? You want to say something to the group? Thaddeus wanted to join me. It's a very calm rooster. I actually started taking care of him and his siblings when they were probably a couple days old. Right, my Thaddy? He's a little plump, short, stocky rooster. He's so sweet. I call him my boyfriend because of all my roosters, he would always bring me treats, and that's how a chicken or at least a rooster tells you that they love you. Every single day, whenever he sees me, he'll run, he'll pick up a stick, whatever, and he'll just throw it on the ground, start making his cooing noise like a rooster would do. Right, my Thaddy? So that's kind of how my journey started and how I became this chicken whisperer, this chicken mama, or as I like to call myself, Big Mama here on the farm, and how a rooster named Duke started broke my heart wide open, and how he started me on this journey to healing my mental health. And I hope that this would give you shed a little bit of light as to why chickens make such a constant appearance in a lot of my videos. And you may not be a chicken whisperer, but I hope that you find your peace, you find things that you need in your life that will bring you peace and healing as well too. So tune in to some of my videos, especially my unlicensed chicken therapy. I have quite a bit of fun doing it. Tune into some of my other stuff, lessons from my daily route, which is sometimes lessons from just from the farm. But until the next video, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care.
Goodbye, just see you